This last year, like I took a big hit from like all of the work I was putting in that my schedule got thrown off.
Yeah.
But like this year is the goal is to cut back down to where I was at before. Like
Yeah.
was at that 170 level.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing, man, is consistency in the schedule. Like no matter how bad or how busy work gets, it's just finding that consistency in the schedule.
Yeah.
So like that's one of my biggest goals this year is like getting back in shape into where I used to be at a year ago. And then number two is like giving back where I can, you know, like, so right now I've like been getting involved like in a lot of like 2 youth clubs in my city. So like mentor like kids that are like in middle school with like messed up like childhoods or like houses that are not stable. Like was able to make a nice donation to that like a few weeks ago, which was pretty cool too, to be able to be in a position to give back at that level.
All right, we'll jump right in. So, Ronnie, where were you born and raised?
Painesville, Ohio.
Ohio.
Right outside of Cleveland.
Come on, right outside of Cleveland. Yeah. And parents?
So my dad was born and raised here in the U.S., and then my mom was overseas.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your mom was born overseas.
Yeah.
And who were you closest with growing up?
Grandfather.
Your grandfather?
Yeah.
Explain that.
So we grew up with them because, you know, my dad got married early, like at 22. So like we lived in their house because, you know, my dad was still young and didn't have the finances to obviously run a family. He got married probably a lot sooner than he should have. So like I grew up in my grandfather's house. So like really close bond.
Dad's dad?
Yeah.
Okay. And what was your grandfather like?
So he's was in the U.S. Air Force. He's like a general. So that's like where I get my mentality from, like that general mentality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So very like militant, disciplined, organized.
Organized, like structure.
But did he have more of there's something about men that I think go through so much, not necessarily like disciplinary action or life where they'll develop almost like that warrior in a garden type of mindset where it's like they're a killer if you push them to it. But for 99% of the time around family, friends and everything like that, they're super calm. You could never tell. You know
exactly how he is. That's like crazy how you say it, like super calm, but like he's firm, you know? Like you have to know him.
There's a killer in there.
He has teeth, you know, like to see that smile.
Yeah. I think those are the men, that's the backbone to our nation. That's the backbone to a good family, to a good business is, ironically, I wear this Donald Trump, shirt, probably more than I should. It probably needs cleaned. But I think of the interview that they had with Zelensky. I don't know if it's been all over. Yeah, it's been all over, all the memes and everything like that. And it's like, for the most part, he seems like a calm, cool, collected dude. But if you push him, you know what I mean? It's like there's a general inside. There's somebody that's like, hey, listen, I'm not afraid to let you know who runs this show. And I think that's super, super important. So, okay, so you're born and raised in Ohio. What was school like as you're growing up?
So just growing up, like we used to bounce around a lot. So we went from like Ohio to Chicago to Kentucky because my dad was moving around a lot for work. He works for like Philip Morris. They were moving him around all the time. So like,
what was that? What's Philip Morris?
It's like they own Marlboro, the cigarette company.
Okay.
So like growing up, like we were moving like every 3 or 4 years. So like we settled down in Kentucky, and that's where I grew up and went to the University of Kentucky. Like fast forward, and then when I decided to move out of there is when I got into law school in PA, and that's when I made the move up there, and then it was history from there.
Wow, wait, we got to go through. So I went to let me show you. Let me see here. I'll find this in 2 seconds. That's me at a Kentucky football game down there on the field.
That's all they have there. Like
that's literally all they have.
Sports, college sports.
Yeah, that's all they have. Yeah. Okay, so what were you like in middle school and high school though?
Just
all over the place.
Regular guy. I grew up with 3 sisters, so like like. Life was different, like didn't have any brothers, didn't have any like other guys in the house. So like would try to like play sports, like a little bit of lacrosse here, a little bit of football, baseball.
When did you what were your aspirations in high school transitioning into college? Like, did you want to make a bunch of money, or were you like, I just want to get a good corporate position? Like, what were you thinking?
So I wanted like a profession that was going to make me a good income. So like originally I was going to go into like med school, and then I fell in love with my college sweetheart, which is now the mother of my kids that I'm married to.
Yeah.
And like, I was like, I need something that's going to be quicker so I could provide for my family. And that's when I had made the switch to law school.
Yeah.
Then like fast forward, like when I had got into law school, like a couple months into it, I had started up a business and like made a ton of money before I turned 23 and ended up dropping out during that first year or so.
Okay.
Like, it just didn't make sense. Like, I always knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. Like, one thing led me to another, and then now I'm here in the insurance space.
What was college like when you're in college and you're thinking to yourself? So you fall in love with your college sweetheart. How'd you guys meet?
It's through school. Yeah.
How though? Like everybody, we know you met at college, but like, how'd you guys meet? Like
Like
class?
Class, yeah.
Yeah, bumped into each other.
Yeah.
Like, what was it? You know
You
what
know,
I mean?
you
Like,
see somebody a couple times,
Yeah.
you're like, okay, like this girl's special.
so you're
you know?
explaining your love story to your kids. Is this
Yeah.
how you're explaining it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So from college, you get a bachelor's degree?
So I got my
Or a
bachelor's
master's?
degree, and then I went into law school, and I dropped out like within my first 6 months.
And you went straight into insurance?
And then I got into the restaurant industry for like the next 5 years. Instead of signing up for like a 9 to 5, I signed up for a 24/7. And then like fast forward, like COVID hit, and like we went like that year we got rocked. You know, like 9 months without income. I remember that year like tough. You know, like luckily I'm like a saver and not a spender, so like I had the funds to get through that storm. But like that's when I started looking for something different that, you know, the business doesn't own me and I own it, you know?
Yeah.
And that's when I ran into the insurance space.
So you went straight into the brokerage world.
Yeah.
Wow. How'd you find insurance?
So I had been seeing a guy that I was grew up with in my hometown, just like posting. And I remember like one day, like it was month 9 without income. Like, you know, we're getting rocked at that point. Like imagine I got a family, I've got 3 kids, like I'm married. Like those expenses are not cheap, you know? It's like, imagine having to deal with that in 9 months without income. I remember like, I always tell this story because I remember like one day I'm at Olive Garden. I'm like, I put my head down. I'm like, God, please give me a sign.
Yeah.
I get home and I see my current upline post like 4 more times about the business. I was like, you know what? What the heck do I have to lose at this point, you know?
Yeah.
And like fast forward 2 years, like to be able to do what I did at that speed, it just shows you how amazing the industry is, you know?
Yeah. That's it. So who was it that
Mahmoud Nasser.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, and that's your current upline?
Yeah, 3-time Hall of Famer. He's a freaking sniper on the phone, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then who recruited him? Wiley?
Wiley, yeah.
And where'd Wiley find Mahmoud?
So it's a crazy story if you want me to get into it. Like, so Mahmoud and Wiley got sent off to bad boy camp, right?
Yeah.
That's where they had met each other when they were 16, right?
Yeah.
But the background behind that story is my current best friend in my hometown had told Mahmoud, you know, he was doing this, that, told his dad that he was doing this, that. And he's the one that sent him to that camp, you know, to straighten his son out.
Yeah.
So like the way that it kind of lined up was crazy, you know, like it's just like nuts how they met up. And then like down the road, they reconnected through the insurance industry.
And what's the insurance industry? So how long have you been in the insurance space?
So this past month marks like 2 years now.
What's 2 years in the insurance space been like for you?
It's just been crazy, man. Like the first year, like while I was in the restaurant industry, I didn't really take it serious. So like 2024, I went to my first convention and just was like, hey, like these guys can do it like I can. Like you hear all these stories, you hear all these success stories in the industry. And like we scaled from damn near 0 to 1.4 million a month last December, which is like been like one heck of a ride. But like the beauty of it is like everybody eats, you know, it's not like in the restaurant industry where I used to like feel bad for like some of my employees because I knew I couldn't get them to the next level. Yeah. Like some of them were so good to me, but like that sense of resentment that I couldn't get them to the next level, like you don't have that in this industry because so like it's an open playing field, you know?
In the brokerage space, do you think anybody competes or compares with your guys's? What I noticed with you guys is you have a very high AP per agent, like average. Yeah. It's like you guys average no less than what, like 15,000 a month?
16, yeah.
Oh, per agent.
Per agent,
which is at scale, that's hard to maintain. Yeah. What is it that separates you guys from everybody else?
So I think, man, like we value like, you know, the quality of the agent over the quantity. Yeah. Like at the end of the day, like if they're on the team and they're not making money, like you don't want them on the team because you're almost hurting them more than you're helping them. So one, we make sure that we're working with the right people. Number 2 is like we're super serious about our training. Like anybody that's training on our calls is writing $40,000, $50,000 a month. Like not anybody can go up there and just start training in front of our agency. Like they have to be qualified. Yeah. And the biggest thing that I learned in the industry is like the people that are doing what they're doing lack qualifications when it comes to training, when it comes to recruiting. Like, and that's the one biggest thing that I said I'm going to try to fix is like, you know, because so many people will come into the industry and have a bad experience because person that recruited them wasn't qualified to do so. Yeah. So like we train in all aspects when it comes to selling, building, leading, knowing how to communicate. And like, that's what separates us is like, we qualify the people before they're able to do what they're doing, you know?
Yeah. And then do you guys run all, and you don't have to, obviously don't give out all your sauce, leads wise.
Yeah.
That's something I've been very intrigued about. And you know, my soon to be fiance and I, it's like, we're just heavily focused on like creating the best lead as possible.
Yeah.
I texted Andy the other day. I was like, bro, what leads are you running? He's like, Ronnie does our leads.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? I'm like, that's it. That's another piece that I like generally respect, because I feel like whoever controls the marketing controls the market. 100%. Whoever controls the lead flow controls the cash flow. So for your guys' organization, is it you that's kind of generally
so I
doing
mastered that phase of the business. Like all of our lead sources, all in-house marketing, you know, playbook branded leads.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing is I learned is like so many people will blow up in the industry and use that as like a tool to mark up the leads like 5x. And I always told myself that once I had figured it out, I would never do that. Like all of our agents get leads at cost price, you know, like.
That's so awesome you say that. We do the same thing.
Yeah, because like I use it as a tool to help the agency.
Yes.
Like people forget the big picture, that the real money that they can make in the industry, that they don't have to do it by marking up leads to 32, 35, 40 bucks.
Typically, if you're structuring your deal, you're probably getting on it. You want to try to keep like a 20-point ride.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like if you're already getting 20 points from somebody, why would you make a massive markup on the lead? And if you're doing so, typically those people usually suck at building an insurance business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like if you're trying to rip people on leads, what's wrong with the product and the system that you're pushing, that you can't sustain an income off of the 20 points that you're taking?
Something is wrong, and those individuals are missing the big picture. You know, like you can make a lot more money by scaling an agency to multiple 7 figures a month than selling leads for $35 a lead. You know,
who's the biggest in the insurance industry that you look up to?
So I would say my mentor, Zach Twardowski. I learned a lot from him. Like what took him 3 or 4 years to do took me a year with the right mentorship. And like that's the biggest thing. Like
he brought Wiley in, right?
And he brought Wiley in,
Yeah, what a clutch play for him.
Yeah, which is crazy, you know, because like I think before he turned 24, he was like pushing multiple 7 figures in the industry, which is like nuts, you know?
Insane, bro. Yeah. Literally insane. And he's quiet on social media.
Very quiet.
Yeah, very quiet.
You wouldn't know what he drives unless you know him. You don't know, you know?
Yeah. And he's not a big podcast guy. Because I asked Wiley, I'm like, what's he about? What's he like? What's he? And he's like super quiet, super humble, super down to earth.
Yeah.
Sounds like a great guy. What about him? Who's his upline?
John Wetmore. I'm not sure if you've heard of him. Big in the space.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. I actually DM'd him the other day. I was like, you should get on the podcast.
Yeah, you should.
He didn't hit me back.
Yeah.
So somebody got to tell Wetmore to hit me up.
I'll sneak in there for you.
Yeah. Sick, man. So, man, insurance for 2 years, you've done something. You've moved at like incredible speed, done some incredible things. What are some things people should know that individuals, you know, aren't transparent about? Like what are the things that I shouldn't say you don't like, but are just like you need to be aware of? Because it's not easy. Yeah. It's never going to be easy. Yeah. So what are your thoughts on that?
So I always say like the biggest thing behind insurance and anything in general is that it works if you do, you know, like it's not a get rich quick scheme. Like if you put your back against the wall for like a year or 2 years, like you will see levels that you won't see anywhere else. Because I've seen it. I've done it all, you know, like bouncing from law school to the business and then like restaurants into this, like there's nothing that you can do what you can here in this speed. But the biggest thing is it works if you do. So like 3 things that really matter. And like I always say that it's so simple that it's hard, you know, because most people can't do those 3 things. Yeah. It's consistency, you know, mindset, and then just like the ego, you know, like if you can drop your ego and learn from people, like that's all I do. Like if you see anything on my, like even my Instagram page, like it doesn't say CEO or leader or playbook agency, it says elite closer, you know? Yeah. It's about the team. It's not about me. And like, that's the biggest thing that people get past when they get to that big level is that everything has to be about them, you know? So like if you can just stay like open-minded and like learn from others, like that's a trick to it. And that's all it is. All it takes is like consistency, you know? Most people are not consistent, unfortunately, nowadays.
Now, what's the most you've ever written in a month?
The most, 81,000 last
81,000 issue paid?
Yeah.
Insane. What was different about that month for you?
So I think just the intentionality, you know, like putting the hours in. Like I treat this like a corporate job. I'm locked in from 9 to 7. Like nobody could throw me off of that grind, like unless something, God forbid, happened like crazy, you know? But like that's how you have to treat it. Most people think like because they're their own boss, they can make their own hours, but unfortunately, like that's the root of all failure in the industry.
What percentage of your guys' business and your business is referrals?
So I would say like maybe 10%. We definitely need to get better there. Yeah.
Might be able to help out. Referrals is my game, dog. I love referrals.
We need to get better there.
Because imagine if you guys are like, what's your organization going to do this year projected?
I think we'll finish 2025 at like $8 million a month.
$8 million a month?
Doing $8 million a month, yeah.
So damn near close to $100 million of business this year. Imagine if you got the referral business up to, even if you just doubled it and went to 20%.
Game changer.
You go to 120 million.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like 20% of your business is like insane. And there's no lead cost to that whatsoever for the agent, for yourself. So it's that's straight profit. It's just straight profit for the agent, yourself, override. Like insane, bro. Insane. So so with this crushing it, the business, the production, for the people that you see that fail, what are they like? Why are they failing? The producers and the leaders.
I think it's just consistency, man. Like every time I see somebody have a bad week, like they switch what they're doing. Like they switch a lead type, they switch a script. Like this is business. Like you're going to have a bad week. And naturally for myself, like I'll see that every 6 weeks, like I'll have a bad week, you know, like that's a part of the business. Like if you were going to open a business and be profitable every single week, like everybody in America would be in business, but that's not how it works, you know? So like, the biggest thing is it comes down to consistency. Like we know that the industry works, right?
Yeah.
If you put in the work, you stick to your schedule, you memorize the script, you put in the activity, you keep recruiting consistently, like you will get to the next level. But all it takes is that one word, consistency.
And with you doing 400, 500,000 a week, it sounds like right now.
Yeah.
Are you writing business?
So I stepped down like this quarter because there was like a couple constraints that I knew that I went to train with Alex Hormozy like about a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
And like I learned a lot. Like sometimes as entrepreneurs, people are like trying to scale too fast, but they don't look at the holes that are in the ship, you know? So like he has a saying that you need to nail it and scale it. So in quarter one, like I have like a military mindset. Like each quarter is labeled like a title. So this one is the calm before the storm. Yeah. And all I'm doing is like nailing up the constraints and getting ready to scale it in quarter two. And like the show will really start, you know, effective today, March 1st.
What's your biggest constraint?
So I would say like the biggest thing is like we needed our own CRM. Yeah. You know, that's white labeled for the agency. Yeah. The biggest reason that is one, it'll like, you know, we use other CRMs now that charge the agent monthly fee. Yeah. It'll save us like over $20,000 a month by having it in-house. Yeah. You know, as we continue to grow. Number two is like revamping our onboarding system, making it more automated, because the more you can automate in this industry, the more that you can scale, you know, because a lot of the stuff can be automated, but you just need to have the right CRM built out to where you can do that, you know? Yeah. So like we solved all of that this past 2 months, and now I was telling Tanner I'm getting ready to hit the phones again, and like on Monday, and I was like, I might be rusty. It's been like 2 or 3 months.
Yeah, I need some help from young Tanner. How old is Tanner?
21.
21 years old. Who recruited him?
So Tanner was found through Instagram.
See, you guys, Instagram has literally made me millions of dollars in a limited opportunity. Yeah. So I'm like excited to see
the gold mine.
What Instagram is going to. I made a video the other day about being in the fish tank versus the ocean. I'm excited. Like I made millions of dollars in a fish tank. Yeah. I'm excited to see what social media does for me in the ocean. Yeah. You know what I mean? So let's talk about that too. From your experience, you haven't experienced both sides, like, and I guess I haven't experienced in full depth both sides, like the brokered side, like you've had, but I've experienced in full depth the captive side. Yeah. From your general knowledge of, I don't want to call saving, but helping people graduate from the captive space into the broker space, what are things you see they do well and things they don't do well, and things that they get impressed by and things they don't, you know, acknowledge or don't like?
So from the captive side, I like how they like anybody that's came in from the captive side, like Tanner Mendelsohn behind me came in from the captive side, right? So like that grind is there, you know, but like when you can kind of like switch up the vehicle, like it gives them more control of the income. Like for example, we had a guy that was in the captive space, wrote 50K, like made 16K that month. Yeah. Like had he bought his own leads, he would have made double after lead spend, you know? So like, it just depends. Like that vehicle is different than ours. Like some people want that comfort where they don't have to buy the leads, you know, no risk. But if you really look at that saying that there's no gain without a risk, you know?
I literally made a detailed video on my general analysis of when you defer risk, you defer reward.
Exactly.
They directly correspond with one another. And as a man, your legacy is directly tied to how much risk that you assume that you take and can withstand in your life.
Yeah.
So as a man, like if you want to get rid, if you want to lower your legacy and you want to make it less then take less risk.
Yeah.
And so there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, it's almost like selecting a 9-to-5. Like we need 9-to-5ers, we need sheep, but you have to understand that when you select to give up risk, you also then inherently select to give up legacy as well. Yeah. So I like that. So what else? Captive to brokerage.
I think other than that, it's like, like most of the guys that come in from the captive space, they like, they're in the same industry. They have like the logistics of it, but it's like, it gives them more control, being able to write multiple carriers. Like for us, it's not a matter of
somebody doesn't get approved through this product. You have another opportunity.
Somewhere else. Yeah. It's not a matter of if you can help them, it's with who, So like, that's the best part, that we can help every client because we deal with multiple carriers, meaning that nobody goes uninsured,
And another thing I like is you guys have, in the brokerage space, you guys have residuals.
Yeah.
But you also have, like, in a sense, what I would call like an equity opportunity, because you can build up your book of business and there's private equity groups
that will
buy that business. You know what I mean? And I think that's just insane because it's almost like double the equity. The residual is nice, but I think when you can build up, and obviously that's only for the people that are building successful businesses. But when you're building $100 million+ business in the brokerage space, now
people want to buy it.
Yeah, you're talking about people. Somebody out there is going to throw some bread at that.
And that's the thing with any business. Like if there's no exit strategy, like
you're not in a
realistically think about it. Yeah. You're not in a business. If there's no exit strategy.
You're just an entrepreneur.
Yeah, you working every day, all day is not an exit strategy in 20, 30 years.
Yes.
So that was one of my favorite things, knowing that there is an exit strategy.
Yeah.
Like if I wanted to exit now, I could, but my team is not for sale, Everybody knows that. But
your dream ain't for sale.
Yeah, my dream is not for sale, but like it's there if I want that option,
Yeah. That's sweet. So what about do you do anything else other than insurance?
No, so right now insurance is my sole focus. Like I'm really focused on getting this thing to $10 million a month in production, and then maybe I'll start thinking about like experimenting in other markets or something. But right now, like insurance is my sole focus.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what are your goals for this year outside of the numerical goals?
So, like family-wise, like we're looking to like build our first house, like really make that big jump into like something that we call like our forever home.
Yeah. Where's that?
So right over there in Philadelphia, PA, where I live now.
Oh, you want to do it in Philly?
Yeah. Couple things like that. Like doing nice stuff. Like even like this past week, like I enrolled my kids in like private school, like something that I never thought I could do, because that's
what kind of private school?
Just like prep, like
I went to a Montessori school for a couple of years growing up.
Yeah, it's like super qualified teachers all have like master's degrees teaching the kids, which is pretty cool. Like it's never something that I thought I would be doing like at such an early phase.
How important is your relationship with your kids? I always see you post them.
Yeah, really.
They look
important.
identical to you. They look like miniature Ronnie.
The bottom two look like
bro. Yeah. So why is it so important? Like what in you just drives you to be such a good dad?
Yeah. So when I was in the restaurant industry before, like it sucked, man. Like being able to see my kids the way I wanted to. Like my son, when he was like 3 years old, he would always ask me on his hands what days I'm going to be home, because I'd leave in the morning when they were like just getting up for school, come home like at 10, 11 when they were already in bed. So like Sunday was really the only day I could see my family. Now like fast forward 2 years, like I get home for dinner almost every day. Like I would say like 5 out of the 7 nights I'm home for dinner, given there are some meetings like, but like all of that is like important. Like Sundays is all for my kids. Like just being able to take them like, whenever, like knowing that you can, because, you control your time, and like, hey, if something came up and I need to leave like for a week to go on vacation in the restaurant industry, my business would melt down. Yeah. But now I have that power because like, there's amazing leaders on the team that can step up into my role, and like that's the best part about the business for me, is being able to give that time back to my family.
That's fire.
Yeah.
That's super fire. What do the next like 5-10 years for you look like?
I think the next 5-10 years, man, is just like continuing to build out more leaders within the organization, open offices all over the states. Like we have like our main one's in PA right now. We've got one in Texas. We've got one in Kentucky. You got one in Indiana. You got one in Minnesota. So like the goal is just continuing doing what we're doing, but at a faster level,
Yeah.
Like I want to be able to say that the Playbook Agency scaled to like $250,000 a year, like faster than anyone has done it.
Why offices? Why not just virtual?
Man, so like the office space is like, everybody, like 2 years ago, we used to think like offices weren't it, everything's virtual, right? But if you look at our leaderboards, if you look at the top 10, they're all in offices. Why? Because like, hey, when you're in my office, right, and you can learn from guys like Coach and Big Al, guys that wrote over 700,000 last year, making over 30, 40, $50,000 a month, opposed to being at Zoom and being, with nobody in your room, but you could be listening to those guys in the office, and like you can get further ahead by making fewer mistakes. And the way you do that is by being in an office,
I love office.
Yeah.
My whole insurance experience has been in office, aside from these last couple of months. You know what I mean? But my number one goal is getting back to an office.
And the culture, man, like when you hear the gong going off the people down the hall, because we just moved into our new office in Philly that's like 8,000 square feet, they thought we had a band in the office from how many times the gong gets hit in a day, like
I've got kicked out of so many offices. You guys got kicked out of any offices?
So we just tell the guys to like hit the gong slowly now, because like if you smack it, like it'll ricochet the whole building.
Bro, from like donuts in the parking lot. I've had guys
I heard about that story.
Donuts and we had like a miniature Wolf of Wall Street type of culture. You know what I mean? Like we set someone on fire in the office, or you know what I mean? Just crazy like music blasting, and so many offices we've been kicked out.
We've even got like boxing gloves in the office.
Yeah.
Like if you have a problem with somebody, like
we had a paintball war in our office.
Oh snap!
Bro, I remember like we had a bad day. I went out and bought a paintball gun, and it's like
just start lining everybody up.
We're not blanking it. You blank, but that's all hypothetical. None of that actually occurred.
Yeah. The office is key though, man. The office is key.
It's so key. And then you look at the billionaires, anybody like any of these massive entrepreneurs, the Elon Musk, the Jeff Bezos, they always say in the office or you're fired.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're coming to work in the office, the Department of Government Efficiency. You know what I mean? Like, what did you do last week? What did you get done last week? Where were you? Like, you got to be in the office. That's why I'm going to say making sure it's Department of Sales Efficiency.
Yeah.
Start exposing all the losers and everybody in the sales world and everything like that. But like, dude, that's 1,000%. Like, that's like the name in the game. Like, if you're a high level individual, you shouldn't need another man or another woman to audit what it is that you're doing. You should constantly be auditing with every breath that you take. Yeah. What am I bringing to this breath?
Yeah.
Because you're just getting one breath closer to death.
Yeah.
And never having breath ever again in your life. So it's like, what am I doing with my life right now? I don't need another man to ask me that. Another woman to ask me, what'd you get done last week? You know what I mean? So it's like, I look at that and I look at your guys' culture. I'm like, that's what they've built.
It's like we're committed to excellence, like a lot of people like we don't even celebrate the standard, because the standard is a standard. It's a Hall of Fame mentality, like that's a standard, the standard is the actual standard. And that's the biggest thing. Like we hold everybody in the agency to a high performance level, because that's what we came to the industry for. Like we didn't come here for make 5 figures a month. Like we want these producers to make multiple 5 figures a month.
Yeah. Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. Well, what about, outside of family and working, do you guys, obviously between those two things, that's like 4 full-time jobs. Yeah. But is there like any little hobbies you like to do with the family? Maybe you guys watch
traveling. They love traveling. My wife loves traveling. Yeah.
Where do you guys have any? I know you said you have some vacation.
Costa Rica coming up. Yeah.
Costa Rica, and then do you guys you hit like theme parks? Like, what's the family like to do?
So like we're going to like the Nickelodeon theme park for the kids. Like now now it's not about me. It's about the kids.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Like before we'd hit like Santorini. We go to like Paris.
Yeah. Now you got
like
kids.
Rome. Now it's like about the kids. We go to Nickelodeon.
Bro, you got the kids. Yeah. You guys do Disney and stuff like that?
We did like 2 years ago. Now the kids are older. Like we've got the youngest one is called Ronnie. We call him Bum Bum because he always sleeps. But he's 2, so he's getting to that level where he'd understand it, because you're always like, oh, I want to wait till they can all understand it.
Yeah.
Then the next one comes and you find yourself doing the same thing again.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So have you kind of outside of business kind of mapped out goals for, and maybe even outside of family too, because it sounds like you guys just travel. What about your body and your soul? You know what I mean? So like, what are your goals for your health and your faith this year?
This last year, like I took a big hit from like all of the work I was putting in, that my schedule got thrown off. Yeah. But like this year is the goal is cut back down to where I was at before. Like was at that 170 level. Yeah. But the biggest thing, man, is consistency in the schedule. Like no matter how bad or how busy work gets, is finding that consistency in the schedule. Yeah. So like that's one of my biggest goals this year is like getting back in shape into where I used to be at a year ago. And then number 2 is like giving back where I can, you know,
Ooh,
like,
I
so
like that.
right now I've like been getting involved like in a lot of like 2 youth clubs in
Yeah.
my city. So like
Sick.
mentor like kids that are like in
Yeah.
middle school with like messed up like childhoods
Yeah,
or
yeah.
like houses that are not stable.
Sick.
Like was able to make a nice donation to that like a
Yeah.
few weeks ago, which was pretty cool too, to be
Yeah.
able to be in a position to give back at that level.
So I don't want to get you in trouble, but no Ramadan?
Yeah. So because I'm traveling today, I'm excused basically. Anytime
Okay.
you're traveling over 60 miles, yeah.
But so you are doing Ramadan?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so well, now I'm watching. I love UFC,
Yeah.
but technically, I just read that I think it's Muhammad Ankalaev. He's
Yeah.
fighting Alex Pereira.
Yeah.
That he's not going to be
Dude,
eating
those
or drinking.
guys are savages.
But isn't he traveling? Like,
Yeah, he's technically
Yeah.
excused. Like right now, I'm a little bit congested at the
yeah,
same
I can
time.
hear. I
with
was
the
like, yeah, you're a
Mucinex.
little congested. So,
But
okay.
like those guys are like savages, man. Like,
Yeah.
like they're the real deal, you know?
Yeah, and you know what else I want to compliment, and I never get super, I never typically get super political, and I don't want to put you in an uncomfortable
Yeah.
spot, but I genuinely appreciate your guys' culture
Yeah.
because the most of the Palestinians that I've met
Yeah.
have always been like kind and respectful
Yeah.
to me as being a Christian
Yeah.
and you know, having those ties to Israel
Yeah.
and my you know, soon to be fiance
Yeah.
being Israeli, and it's like I've never had anything but respect
Yeah.
from you guys, your culture, like
Yeah.
genuine
Yeah.
respect, and even safe. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
He's like, I got Jewish friends, and I'm like,
Yeah.
that's what people need to see
Yeah.
and hear advertised, because there's extremists on both sides
Yeah.
that are making the good-hearted Palestinians and the good-hearted Jewish
Jews, yeah.
and the good-hearted Christians. It's like trying to
Yeah.
tear us apart,
Yeah.
and we need more people
Yeah.
like you guys. We need more
Yeah.
marketing and advertisement on the people that are trying to make it
Yeah.
work. Because not everybody wants war. We don't want
Yeah.
you know more innocent individuals
Yeah.
you know dying.
It's the news, man. Like people that watch the news, they don't really see the real stuff.
don't
You
see
know,
the
like
real
at the end of the day, all we want is peace between the two countries.
Yeah,
Like I have Jewish friends. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like we're just fine here. Like we don't fight.
Yeah.
We don't even bring up the topic. All we do is like pray together for peace, you know?
Yeah.
But like at the end of the day, like both sides have really good people. It's just like, you know, there's a small fraction that
it's like
issues.
and I tell people this all the time, and I was like, there's extremist groups everywhere. You have the
Yeah.
KKK in America.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like any group is going to develop
Yeah.
high extremes
Yeah.
that are then going to make the whole group look bad.
Yeah.
It's like saying all cops are bad. Could you
Exactly.
imagine like being in a situation where there's an armed robbery going on and somebody says, hey, we abolished the police because we thought all of them were bad, so we're going to send a therapist out to dissolve the situation.
What are they going to do?
Exactly. So it's like not all bad apples don't represent the batch of apples. There's going to be bad apples.
You can't, you know, because at the end of the day, like even here, like, you know, both sides, they want peace, and that's what it comes down to, you know.
Yeah.
But the history of the issue has like prolonged way too long.
Way too long, bro.
Yeah. Hopefully Trump can find us a solution this year.
He posted that crazy video of the
Yeah.
Trump Gaza. And I was
Yeah.
like, he's so nuts.
Yeah, he is crazy. For
He's
that.
nuts. But
What's your highest month when you were in the field?
I was like 50,000.
What did you
nothing
peak at
crazy.
team wise?
Best we ever did in the Catholic space was 600,000.
Uh-huh.
First month of building, we just finished our first month. We did 300,000 with 6 agents.
Uh-huh.
So, like I always
That's
thought like,
sick.
to myself when
Yeah.
I was comparing to brokerage, I was like, no, it's probably not that.
Yeah.
Probably not that easy.
Uh-huh.
I don't even call it like easy. I think it's just I don't know how to say it.
It's 2025, man. It's
Well, I
never
think
been
it's- I
easier
think
to
it's
sell
also-
insurance.
It comes down to lead quality, intentionality of the marketing,
Yeah.
are the individuals interested, and then the product variety, and having the capacity to work with higher level individuals that are interested in the products, and not have a cap
Yeah.
per se on like what it is
Yeah,
that you're setting up the individuals and the families with. So
Yeah.
you know, I feel like we could do $1 million this month. You know,
Uh-huh.
what I mean? We had 6 agents to start with,
Yeah.
and we have we're like in that delay,
Yeah.
similar to like Tanner. Like we have
Yeah.
another 30 onboarding,
Yeah.
and like I mean, we're just really like what I love
Ripping,
about your
yeah,
culture is
yeah.
like high quality.
Yeah.
Not recruiting anybody. We just
Yeah.
select invites. Hey, you
Yeah.
want to sit down and have a conversation? You're a top producer. You're a top
Yeah.
leader. You know, like the expectation here
Yeah.
is 50,000 a month off,
Yeah.
and that's because we're so small.
Yeah.
You know, when we get to
Early
your
on,
guys',
yeah.
when we get that'll dilute.
Yeah,
over
it's a
time, and
different
like,
ball game.
If we could maintain like you guys have a 15,000 AP per agent,
Yeah.
no matter no matter what, no matter like,
Yeah.
what do you guys have? A couple hundred agents?
We're at like 211 now.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's insane.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That'll be great.
Yeah. I think the biggest advice that I got was like recruit like an NFL scout. Like
Yeah.
most people, they just sign people up, but like I throw like all these curveballs before they even get into the portal, you know?
Yeah.
That's how like you assure that you're gonna work with the right individuals.
Yeah.
Other
We're real
people
big
are
on
just
that,
like
'cause
recruit.
We don't have an office right now, so
Yeah.
we'll hit people with like, hey, look, if you don't come to Miami and you're not like, you can like get here tomorrow
Yeah.
type of deal, we don't want to work with you.
Yeah.
Because it's like if it's a lifetime opportunity
Yeah.
and you don't have the means or you don't have the desire
Yeah.
to get out here as quickly as possible, you're probably not the right fit.
Yeah.
So we just kind of measure like the people that we're working with based off their urgency and their competency.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
How
what are
bad
your
they want it.
results and then how
Yeah.
quickly are you willing to move?
Yeah.
And at least get out here for some in-person training.
Shows you like how serious people
Yeah,
are.
it shows you how serious
Yeah.
people are.
You don't waste your time.
That's definitely the biggest thing.
Then we do like this thing, like in 3 months, if they don't hit 10K, we just like chalk them.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think that's a good thing too. Like, so how do you guys do that? Like a 30-day letter?
90 days. Just we monitor at the end of 90 days, they get an email. They've been as earned before that, and then they just get an email. Because what I've seen is the people that can't do that, they're the ones that roll you up the debt.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Yeah.
So what do you guys do? You put them on as earned?
Yeah, so they
Okay.
can't get advanced anymore.
Yeah. So how would you go about doing that? You just tell the carrier put this person on as earned?
Email all the carriers.
Oh, okay, that's sick. That's super smart.
Because if somebody's not writing 10K a month, they're not making money.
Yeah.
You know, if they're not doing that after 90 days with good leadership and a good system,
Yeah.
then they're the problem, you know?
I like that a lot. I'm gonna put that in my notes.
10K, 90-day rule. We call it the 90-day rule. That's like the code word for it.
Do they have 90 days to write 10K in a month or
In
in
1
general?
month, yeah.
Okay.
Because in reality, like even doing this part-time, long-term it doesn't work out, you know?
Shoot, dude, I might put this at 60 days.
That's crazy. We have like a 20K rule in the office now. Like if you don't write 20K, you don't have a cubicle.
Yeah, you can't come in
Like
the
per
office.
month.
You
Like,
shouldn't
you're not
even be
allowed to come to our
Yeah,
office,
can't
yeah.
even come to the office.
Yeah.
Man, dude, is there anything else on your mind? Where can people find you? They want to work with the playbook organization. What do they got to do?
Yeah, so you could look at my Instagram tag, ZER Dark 30. So it's like zero Dark 30, but without the O. And then like if you're located in any of these states, our main headquarters in Philadelphia, we've got office in Texas, Minnesota, soon to come in Indiana. We've got one in Kentucky. Like we're all over the place in most cities, even in Miami, just as of recently, you know?
Yeah.
So like if you're located next to any of those offices, like the Playbook Agency is the place to be because we value that.
Yeah.
It's, you know, the whole motto is like it's by the agent for the agent.
Yes.
You know, it's an industry that puts the agent first.
Yes.
And we definitely like emphasize that in our group specifically.
That's fire.
Yeah.
That's fire. Well, you guys heard it here first. Make sure you guys hit up Ronnie Salem. If you guys need anything, want to learn more about the insurance space or interested in some high-level partnerships. So let's go.
Sir. Get
Peace.
further ahead by making fewer mistakes.
Come on, dog. Let's go. Peace.
Fire.